Good afternoon, Alokesh. How are you
Mm,
doing?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm doing well.
Well, you look very, very young for this situation.
No, sir, a lot of people say that, but actually, I'm not that young. I'm 22 years old.
All right. I mean, 22 is still very good for you. Alokesh, so thank you for joining in. And so we are going to keep it very simple. I have a very certain specific topic in mind where I want to assess your skill. Alokesh, do you have your resume with you?
Yes, sir, I have it with me.
Can you, I'm going to make you share your screen. Can you go ahead
Let
and
me just
share your screen
let me just
and
open it.
show me your resume? I've
Yes,
got
sir.
some specific questions to ask from your resume, so hence I asked.
Sure, sir.
All right, coming. Thank you. Maybe you. All right. So, um, so I know you mentioned a lot of skills in your resume, and you also mentioned that you work with database, MySQL database, right?
Yes.
What kind of things have you done on MySQL database? I mean, if you can elaborate as to what all you have done.
Yes, sir. I have done firstly importing of huge databases using command line interface. Then I have also done creating tables, inserting data in tables, updating already existing tables, as well as different queries to extract certain data from like certain output from the table, whatever is required by the user.
Okay. All right. Tell me, what kind of data have you imported? CSV, text. What kind of
Uh,
data have you?
Mostly CSV, sir.
Okay.
Mostly CSV files and once an SQL file itself, like a big file containing a lot of tables.
And is there any specific reason why you chose MySQL as a database platform?
Actually, sir, there is no specific reason. MySQL is one of the most popular database platforms since the 1970s, since its inception, and even today it is widely used as a non-relation database.
Okay.
So
So
that's
that's why
why.
you chose
Sorry,
it.
relational database
Yeah.
as a relational database. So
Okay.
that's why I chose MySQL.
All right. Good. Makes sense. Your
Yes,
focus
sir.
was to become master or become very, very good in MySQL as a database management platform, or was your focus to learn SQL as a language?
I was more focused to learn SQL as a language
Okay.
because I'm more interested in Python. I'm more
Yeah.
interested in the Python part of data science. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, even if I want to do a job in Python anyway, I still need to know how to extract data from databases. So that's why I was
Okay.
more interested in the SQL language part of the
Okay.
database.
Okay. So tell me, I mean, what did you like and what did you not like about SQL?
For SQL is pretty easy, I will say, but at times it gets confusing. Like
That's
if
a
you
lot
have
of
a lot,
confidence you're saying, right? With a lot of
yeah,
confidence, that it is very easy.
because initially it felt very easy, but over time, as I've practiced more and more problems, I have realized that sometimes you need to think a lot. It's very easy to jot the solution, but to figure out how to find the solution in SQL, the logic part, it's a little difficult to think it out in one go.
Okay.
It takes quite
What
some
did you
time to
not
think.
like about it?
It looks very old, sir. The
It looks
entire
very old.
interface is very old.
What
Unlike
what
Py,
interface what interface have you used that you feel that is very old?
I have used the MySQL interface as well as I've used the
What do you mean
line
MySQL command interface or what?
command interface I have used. It is definitely very old, but it's very fast. And I have used the MySQL, the database software that is present. Uh,
And what is that software? Workbench are you referring to, by the way?
Workbench, yes, sir, Workbench.
All right. Which version
I've
of
used
MySQL database server you worked on?
version 8.
Version 8. Okay. All right. So you spoke about importing CSV files into MySQL. Wanted to ask you, uh, did you use Workbench to import the files, CSV files, or did you also use the command line prompt? I think you said command line prompt earlier, right?
I have used both, sir. If the files are very small, then I use the workbench. But for very big files, the workbench will take probably days to load the entire data set. So
Okay.
that time I use the command line interface.
Command line interface. Yeah. So I want to ask you a few things now. Okay. Do you have Excel? Can you share your can you share an
Y-
Excel sheet?
Yes, sir. I'll share my screen.
Yes. Yeah. So write this word normalization and tell me what that word does. I mean, what is the meaning of that normalization?
Normalization is the procedure to remove excess redundant data from. Normalization is the process of removing excess redundant data. Like what happens whenever we make a lot of tables, a lot of repetition of data happens, which might not be required
Okay.
if we create the tables efficiently. So
Okay.
normalization is a way to clear out the redundant data from your existing tables, from the
Okay.
tables you create.
Now, what are the disadvantages of what would be one important disadvantage of normalization?
One important disadvantage of normalization, normalization creates a lot of tables. It increases the number of tables in your system.
All right.
That's an important,
And why is that an important? Why is that a disadvantage?
because the data is more spread over everywhere. It's a disadvantage because it might be difficult at times to understand the relationship between so many tables.
Okay. Okay. So query writing becomes a little more complex. The data doesn't
Complicated.
fit in one table. So tell me, you spoke about normalization to split the database into multiple tables in order to reduce redundancy. Right? When you split the database into multiple tables, right? I'm sure you understand that you have to create a relationship between tables, right?
Yes, sir.
So then you have to decide where foreign key should go,
Yes,
right?
sir. Where the foreign
How
key
do
should
we
go on.
decide where should the foreign key go between two tables?
So it depends on the kind of relationship. If it's a one-to-many relationship, then the foreign key will go on the many side of the table because foreign key
Can
can
you give
have
me an
multiple
example?
values.
Can you give me an example?
Example of foreign
One
key.
example of a one-to-many relation.
Okay, example of a one to. I'll just say it, or I will just show you on the
I
Excel.
would prefer if you can draw it on Excel or something like. Just take any table like customer orders, employee department, any sort of that you might have worked on.
Okay, sir. Oh, yes, sir. In this case, every student, here are only four students where each of them belong to one department, or it can be actually the other way around. This can be the professor. This will look better as a matter of fact, and this be the student. A department can only have one professor, but a department can, many students can belong to the same department. So here in this side, it's the one side, and this is the many side.
So you're saying that one professor is assigned to one department,
Yeah,
uh,
and that
and a
professor is
department has,
teaching many students, like A and B for professor one.
so so department is like a primary key in the professor table.
Yeah, in the professor table, it's a primary key
Okay.
because every department can only have one professor.
Okay. It's a very small college that you're assuming that. Yeah. One restaurant in one department.
Yeah.
Iris College. What if the professor leaves? Okay. Anyway, it's your example, and you're saying that a department will have only one professor, and a department can have multiple students, and
Mm.
hence the one-to-many relationship. So,
Yes,
what is the
sir.
foreign key? Where is the foreign key for this relationship?
This department here, sir,
In the student table.
in the students table.
So, it's a one-to-many relationship when you put the foreign key in the many side,
Yes, sir.
yeah, in order to do what? Why only in the many side?
Because otherwise, sir, if I don't do that, then for every student, I have to mention the professor repeatedly here. Every time the department is there, I have to repeat the data of the professor. Suppose other than the professor's name, what if the professor's date of birth is there, phone number is there? There are way too many data for every professor. So if I
No,
don't,
my question is very simple. What if
yes,
I had taken, so in your student table, I'm assuming student name is the primary key. So
yeah,
what if we would have taken student name from the student table and created a column in the department in the in the professor?
Created. Okay, so then for every student, the professor's name, professor's date of birth, phone number will be repeated. So the number of rows in this table will increase. You're saying that if I take the student's name and put it in the professor's table, that is what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
wrong. So if
Mm-hmm.
I say write A here, then I have to write B here again. For B also, B is also part of department one. So B is also being taught by Professor
So you're
Alok.
saying that the professor details would repeat.
Repeat, exactly, sir.
So that's why you're not liking it.
Yes, sir.
And
I'll stop sharing first. Yeah.
yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So if you see my screen, Alokesh, I've got two tables here, product and supplier. Let's create PID as product, which is the primary of this table. Product name is another thing. Let's just SID is the primary supplier table. Name is the name of the supplier. Location is wherever that. Is it making sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So these are two different tables. Now, what I want to understand is what kind of a relationship do you think exists between these two tables?
Provided that one supplier has many products
Yeah.
and many products are the same product is produced by different suppliers as well.
Okay.
If that happens, only then it's a many-to-many table. If one
Okay.
supplier is doing many products as well as one product is being supplied by many suppliers, then it's a many-to-many relationship.
All right. So let's
Uh,
say one product can be supplied by many supplier and one supplier can supply multiple products. Hence, it is a many-to-many
Many-to-many
relationship.
relationship.
So if it is a many-to-many relationship, you're saying where should the
Where should the
foreign key go?
foreign keys will be present in both the tables, sir, and then another table will be created with the foreign keys to find a relationship between
So,
these two tables.
okay, assuming what you're saying, and I will do what you're saying. So let's say
So
I create a third table here. Let's call it
yes,
as product supplier table. Yeah.
we'll have both PID and SID if both are the foreign keys for those tables.
So you're saying this table should have PID, which is the
And
primary of the
SID.
products table, and SID, which is the primary of the supplier table. Is that what it is? Okay. But then, would the products table have foreign key?
If the product will the product table have
Foreign key?
yes, for the product supplier table, it has the product table will have the primary key. The product supplier table will have the foreign key.
Okay. Yeah.
It will be the primary key,
And
and the supplier ID it will also be the primary key. And in the product supplier table, they will be the foreign key, and together they will form the composite key.
okay. So the primary of this table would be the composition of these two, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And so just one. So this will be the composite primary key. Now, my question to you now, next question to you is, since there is a common column between the supplier table and the product supplier table, and a common column between the products table and the product ID table, so that means there is a relationship.
Okay, between the product supplier and the product supplier and the supplier.
Yeah, because there
Yes.
is a common column, right? So what is this type of relationship? What is this relationship type?
Okay, so this is one to many. The
This is
supplier
one to
table
many
will have
common.
one, and the product supplier will have many. Because
This is
products
one.
and suppliers are both many to many,
Hmm.
so that's why in the product supplier table, both PID and SID can repeat multiple times. So it will be a one to many relationship.
Okay. All right.
But
So,
together it has to be unique.
yeah, I understand. That's fine. All right. Thank you. So that's good. Let's move on to something a little more interesting. Um, I'm sure you mentioned in your resume as well, and in initial conversation that you worked on a lot of SQL queries, right? So what are the different types of SQL statements have you worked on?
There are basically three types: DDL, DML, and DCL. Where DML is data manipulation language, DCL is data control language, and DDL is data definition language.
Mm-hmm.
Data definition language is basically about creating, using tables, creating and using
Okay.
tables.
Okay.
And data manipulation language includes most of the queries that we use, the select query, and most of the queries to extract the data we want from the table. And data control language is used to give different accesses to different users of the database. Control access and query access, what kind of query which user can execute on the database.
Can you give me some examples of DDL statements?
DDL is create,
Okay. You're
create,
saying create. Okay.
delete,
Delete.
update,
Update.
and insert is also in DDL.
Okay. And then what goes in DML?
DML is selecting,
Mm-hmm.
uh, data manipulation languages. We are manipulating the data. Truncating, truncate. I think so. I made a mistake. I think update will be in the data manipulation part, DML part.
Okay.
Update and insert as well.
Okay. And delete.
Create and delete for data definition.
So tell me, you said DDL is about design and DML is about data. That's what you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if it is about design, what do we do with delete statement?
Yes, sir. It will be in DML. It will be in
No,
data
but tell me, what do we
manipulation.
do with delete statement?
With delete statement, we can either delete the entire table or delete a particular row from the table. We can drop the table as well,
So you
other than
can
using
reduce
delete.
the rows of the table, right? You can
Table,
remove the
yes, yes,
rows
yes,
from the
yes.
table, right?
Table, yes.
Since it's about data, so it should go into the DML
In the
statement.
DML
Right?
section, yes, sir.
Now, so create, you said, are the details. What else?
For DDL, I've been creating
So what are the things that we do in design? We create a table. What else do we do?
we add constraints to that table, but
Okay? That you can
yes,
add with the help of create only. Once the tables are designed, how do you modify that table?
alter.
Okay? So alter is
So
another.
alter is another DDL statement.
Am I taking your interview? You're taking my interview.
No, so sorry.
Uh, Suppose if you want to remove a table from the database, how do you do that?
If we drop, we use drop
Where does
to
it go?
drop. It goes in
DDL.
DDL only, yeah.
Okay. All right. And what does delete statement do?
Now, delete statement is used to delete data rows from the table.
Rows from the table. Right? And truncate does exactly the same thing. Truncate also deletes all the rows
Along
from the
with the
table.
table,
No, that would be drop.
drop, that will be drop, and
What truncate does is that it removes all the
the rows
rows
from
of
the
the
table.
table unconditional. In delete, you can write conditions. Say, for example, delete from customer where customer
Customer
city
name
is
is
go to Mumbai,
hmm,
right? So all Mumbai customers would be deleted, right? But that's condition based. Whereas truncate, you don't write any condition if you want to remove all the rows of a table. We want to keep the table in the database, means the schema of the table, but you want to remove
all
all
the
the
rows.
rows of the table, then you use truncate. And truncate, okay, just go through your book again, maybe, or tutorial. Truncate is part of DDL statement, and the reason why it is part of DDL statement is because here we do not go to the data to see what is going on in the data at all. We directly remove all the data that is there in the thing. So that's truncate for you. Is that making sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right. So I don't care about DCL, data control language statement, because that's not something that we require. I want to talk more about select statement, because as an analyst we use a lot of select statement. So I want to ask you, if you want to find out the names in a table, for example, I'm just going to put this as well, put a dummy table. Let's say we have customer table. customers, right? We have a column here called as customer ID. We have a column here called as the name, customer name, and let's say we have a column called as city. Let's say the ID is are the names are like this. The cities are like this. Now I want to find out the names. I want to find out names that are unique. How to find the names that are unique?
So
What
we
would be that
can.
question? Question is names that are unique. So what should I?
So we should only get Pratik and Suresh back. Suresh back, right?
We should only get Pratik and Suresh back.
Uh, select select CNAME.
Right?
Select CNAME
Mm-hmm.
from customers.
Mm-hmm.
Group by CNAME.
Okay. Okay.
Where yes, count of CNAME is equal to 1.
Where?
Sorry, having count of CNAME. It's a group by function. I cannot use where. Having count of CNAME equals to 1.
So what's the difference between where and having? When do we use what?
Having we cannot use having we can use as well as with aggregate functions. Where we can only use when we are checking for conditions. Having can be used for both checking conditions as well as along with aggregate functions. But where doesn't work with aggregate functions.
All right. Okay. So that this will give you names that are unique, which is okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to find. I want to ask you this question: that what if I want to find the second highest scorer in student table? Let me draw the table as well for you. Say there is a student table. We got student ID here. We got student full name here, and we got, let's say, student marks here, right? So one, B,
yes,
and A, B, and then number. So I want to find the second highest scorer from the student table.
To find the second highest scorer from this table, right? So we have to get 90.
So we have to get 90. Yes.
To find the second highest scorer, what we can do is that we can create this statement. So select name, full name, comma maximum of marks, from student, and where marks is less than, select the maximum marks again from the table. Actually, sir, I'm using max in the outer statement. So out of the, like, we are making sure using the where condition that only marks below the highest marks is selected, and below the highest marks, whatever is the maximum marks that is being given.
Okay. Any other way that you can think of this doing this?
Yes, we can use it using. We can do this using dense rank as well.
Okay. So tell me the question.
Okay, so if I use dense rank for this, select full name. So what if I can I just write it down and then send it?
Yeah, take a moment. No worries. I'm not. All right. Don't worry about the syntax much. Tell me what dense rank does.
So dense rank gives the Dense rank, in rank, what happens in rank, if two people have the same rank, it repeats itself. Like it doesn't repeat. Like if two-person has become first, then the second rank will be skipped. But in
Since you
dense
since you
rank,
brought this topic, let me put it here. Yeah. Let's say
yeah,
if I put let's say if I put 89, right?
yes,
And let's say if I were to create a new column here, and let's call it as a rank. Okay.
hmm.
So what would be the rank for this person?
It will be two,
Okay.
3, 1, 5, 3.
That's the rank, right?
Yes,
And two people have gotten the same rank, 89, because they have
yeah,
scored the same score. And the 67 person, I mean, the person who's got 67B has got the rank as 5. And the
5.
reason being uh, because the
Two people have got yeah,
first four ranks are absorbed by these guys.
yes.
Right? So that's the rank. And how different dense rank would be?
In dense rank, sir, number 4 will have the rank 4. So
This
that's why
guy,
for the highest scorer, we can use the second highest scorer, we can use the dense rank, and we can check whoever has the second dense rank, whichever teams have the
so
second dense rank,
this
we can
person
use.
will have the first dense rank,
Yes, yes, sir.
and about
90
this
will have 2,
two, okay,
3,
three,
3, and then above this 4.
four, right? So
Yes,
it gives
sir.
you NS. So dense rank gives
And
you, or
it's
you're saying that it gives you NS,
highest, yes, sir.
right? And that's why you're suggesting that we should use this
Use
keyword,
dense
right?
rank, yes,
But you're
sir.
not too comfortable about the syntax.
Syntax.
I'm okay with it. You can always refer to on Google or whatever. I want to ask you one more question. Suppose there's a customer. Well, the question I want to ask is list the names, list the customer names that contain single, list the customer names that contain single. So you can
Uh,
see there are multiple names here, right?
yes, sir.
So again, in the output, what I want is
Ramesh, Suresh.
these guys. The thing should not come because it contains more than one.
Two.
And let's say there is another person here called as Pratik. With a single. So
Yes, sir. What we can do is that we can substitute E in for every C name with no space, and with the length of the original C name and subtracting the length of the new manipulated C name that we did.
mhm,
If the difference is one, then only one E is present. Only
mhm,
those names will come.
okay, good. So you're saying that you would replace E in the customer name in the CNAME column, E with null,
Null.
right? And
Yes.
then after replacing E with null, then you will find the length, the
Compare
replaced
the
string,
length.
and then
Yes.
you'll compare it with the length of the original string. If the
Yes.
difference is equals to one, then that means the original string contains
Only one E.
only one E. But if the difference is more than one, that means the original string contains more than one E, and if it's zero, then so
It
which
contains
function?
one E.
So you said substitute. Which function will help you do that in MySQL?
To substitute the
Character.
character, we can use substitute, sir.
No, there is no substitute function. There is a replace function.
Replace is case
Substitute
sensitive.
is
Yeah,
there in it.
yes, we can use replace function.
That's, let's say this contains the customers in a bank who have opened FD account. This contains this Venn diagram represents the customers who have taken loan from the bank, and this represents the customers who have taken credit. So this represents customers who have taken home loan. This represents customers who have taken the credit card. Right now, if I want to find out all the if I want to find out all the customers all the FD customers and credit card, all the FD and credit card customers. So what kind of a join would I use?
Including those who have both FD and credit card.
Yeah.
So then we can,
Now I want to find out all the FD customers and all the CC customers.
okay, all the FD customers and all the CC customers, including those who have both FD and CC account, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Then we can do a full join, sir, of FD and CC.
So you'll do a full join of FD and CC.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. And what if I want to find out those FD customers? I want to find out, list the FD customer, list all the FD customers,
Yeah.
including the customers who have taken loan and the amount of loan.
All the FD customers as well as customers who have taken loan and the amount of loan that they have taken.
Essentially, what I'm interested to know is all the FD customers, right? Including these customers who have taken loan, who have taken home loan,
Loan.
okay?
Have taken home
And the
loan.
amount of home loans they have taken.
So then we can do a left outer join if the FD is on the left side.
Okay. So you would say left outer join,
Yes, sir.
join,
If
right?
FD is on the left side, yes.
Yeah, I mean, assuming FD is on the left side. Um, what if I want to find out all the customers who have taken all the three products, meaning FD, CC, and home loan?
First, okay, all the three products, FD, CC, and home loan. We'll do an inner join of FD and home loan. So we have to find the inner join
Hmm.
of FD, CC, and home loan.
Inner join, right?
Yes, sir.
So this will be this code,
Yeah,
right? This right in the middle.
right in the middle.
Okay. All right. Very good, Alokesh. Thanks a lot for the discussion today. I enjoyed having a discussion with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for your time.